Hi guys, my name is Rick Gonzalez, and today I'll be taking you through my presentation on the sex differences in different cultures. My initial findings are from our book on The Ape That Understood the Universe by Steve Stewart Williams. So, the idea is presented in the book. Steve Stewart Williams outlines the differences between the sexes based on different scientific research. So on the left side, we have the differences that outline for females. So females are more likely to care for children for longer periods of time. They're often more prone to put more time into the actual caring of the kids. They're choosier about their sexual partners, and they factor more things into the decision to actually mate with a male. They tend to live longer than males. They have less sexual fantasies than men, and they have a lower sex drive. On the other side, the male counterparts, they are more prone to violent behaviors. They develop more muscles due to higher testosterone levels. They are less involved as parents, as their counterparts of females. Like I said, males are less likely to put in as much time and effort as females are into the actual development of the kid. They have a higher sex drive, and they tend to live for a less amount of time than women. So the questions that arise from this information. How does culture factor into life expectancy? Does it vary between cultures? If so, is there a specific culture that defies this norm that Williams outlines in his findings? Is there a significant, or if there are significant differences, what factors into those differences? So here's some of my findings. So there are only 5 countries in the world that have men that live longer than women, and they are Afghanistan, Nepal, Papua New Guinea, I might butcher this, I'm sorry, but Namibia and Zimbabwe. So the first one, in Afghanistan, men outlive women because women have been the victims of the country's 30 years of constant warfare and are also seen as second-class citizens by their own country. So what is interesting about this is that men are fighting the wars that have constantly been ravaging the country, but women are facing the ultimate price more so than men are. Next one is Nepal. In Nepal, women are also seen as subordinate, and when they have their periods, are often forced to leave the home, sleep in barns, huts, and tents. So their hygiene and their because they sleep in barns and stuff like that, they're more prone to get diseases. And it's almost as though in their own culture, their womanhood is often something they should be ashamed of, and something that is like they're kind of an outcast in society. In Papua New Guinea, there is a high maternal death rate during birth, and they are often the victims of witch hunts. So in this case, the witch hunts that I'm talking about are basically the same thing as the Salem witch trials, where women will often be accused of, making bad things happen to someone or even involved in the murder of someone that they had nothing to do with. The government also supports this witch hunt, and they've often put, I think there's $4 million into the funding into, witch hunt for scientific research, per se. Continued. So in Namibia, women are subservient to men and have been for some time. Marital rape was only outlawed in the year 2000. And in 2014 and 2015, the push began at the international level for women to be viewed as equals and have equal opportunities. So as we can see, marital rape was legal up until 2000. So the victims of these crimes, even though it was 20 years ago, are still alive. So they're still feeling the effects of their inequality to this day. The next one, the last one, is Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe women are constantly subject to sexual violence, because like the other cultures here, they are not seen as equals. Little is done at the government level to protect them. Many are subject to sextortion to be granted opportunities such as education, healthcare, jobs, and other basic essentials in society. And what I mean by sextortion is that women today are more prone to offer sexual favors in turn for the things that I've listed here, such as education, healthcare, jobs, and other basic essentials in society, because they are continued to be looked down upon in society and they are not considered equal to the men. So the conclusions that I have here. Williams makes clear a number of universal truths about the differences between the sexes. Women do in fact live longer than men when they are not treated as subordinates to men. Culture does play a role, but as I found out, there are not as many exceptions to Williams' findings as I initially thought. I thought there was going to be a lot more countries that kind of defied this norm, or cultures, I should say, and to find there was only 5 was pretty interesting. The only exceptions that we found here are that they are in underdeveloped third world countries. And I believe that once they develop more, there won't be any exceptions to this truth, considering there's only 5 cultures. When these 5 cultures eventually break that gender barrier and that sex barrier in terms of making women as equal to men, I believe William's truth, universal truth about women living longer than men, there will be no exceptions for it like that I've outlined here. And these are some of my references that I have. Thanks again for listening to my presentation. Have a good one.